Hello everybody and welcome to BSW Timber K2 Sawmill in Fort William. I'm so excited to be here today because for years I have been posting pictures from our forestry and harvesting managers of the amazing sites that are quite nearby, some of them, where they have been managing and harvesting trees for years, and it's so great to see the place where a lot of these trees, the timber, ends up. I'm here today with Harry Stevens, of course. Harry, tell us about this sawmill.
Yeah, so this mill's been here 8 or 9 years now, employ about 200 people. We're bringing in about a bit shy of 500,000 tonnes of logs per year. So I suppose over the lifetime we've probably sawn about 4 million tonnes at this mill since its inception. It's the most modern mill within the business. It's got a footprint of about 80 acres, so probably one of the largest timber processing facilities in the country. And we're drawing timber from the north of Scotland. We bring boats down from Wick and from South Kintyre. So the whole of the west of Scotland is supplying timber into this sawmill. The sawmill with the best view in the country, as good a view as I've seen from a sawmill anywhere, I think, even around the world. So we've got the lock in the background, we've got Ben Nevis over here, and then we've got goods in behind us, and at the moment there's a wagon weighing out. We're bringing in about somewhere between 80 and 100 loads a day over this weighbridge. It's a sawmill using probably somewhere around 9,000–10,000 tonnes of timber a week. Got the log grading line up here, so logs come in over the weighbridge, they're weighed in and recorded the location they come from and tagged, so we put a unique identifier onto each load and go down to the in-feed at the other end of the log line, where we're sorting the logs by diameter. So we've got pockets that each log is sorted into, and then each of these locations here is a different grade, so they'll be about 1 or 2 centimetres wide, those grades. So these are then in a half stock area, and then the mill will call in those logs by the different grades, and so at the moment we've got all logs of the same diameter coming up through the in-feed here. So the logs are debarked here so that we can sell the chips for paper quality material, or to manufacture chipboard that requires clean chips. The logs are aligned so they're all facing the same direction, so small end facing this way, and then they pass underneath here. Each log is scanned, and we can see an image of the log being scanned there on that central screen, and you can see the cutting pattern within each of those logs that we're trying to cut out of those logs. So there's a scanner underneath us here that's seeing how that log fits into that pattern that we're trying to cut. This is a schematic or an image of the log line. So we've got the scanner, which is immediately underneath us here. We've then got a turner, and then we have a profiler, which is starting to chip off the sides to turn the log from basically being round into square. We then scan what we call the cant. So we've scanned again, we scanned there, we've now scanned after the first cut to confirm what we thought we were going to get. We'll maybe make some slight alterations at that point, and then we start to break the log down further, or the cant down further, and we're taking off sideboards at this point, and then ultimately we're breaking down the centre core with these different saw sets. being broken down into the individual products. So we saw sideboards being profiled, or the thinner bits of material being profiled out of the log and then separated, and then finally the log broken down into the centre core material, which tends to be the more valuable material. Sideboards tend to go into pallet wood, maybe packaging. The centre core material, the thicker sections, tend to go into sort of fencing or construction, depending on how the market is at the time. So standing up here, we're now looking across over towards the log yard and the sorted log stock, and in front of us we've got stock of pallet wood, and then further down there we've got the biomass plant, the holding area for the biomass fuel, and beyond that we've got kilns and then secondary operations lying further down. So we're talking to Ewan Robertson here, very important person on the site, responsible for the supply chain of product coming into the mill, bringing in roughly about 10,000 tonnes a week.
Yeah, up to 10,000 tonnes a week budget requirement.
And so to do that, you've got a team of 8 managers.
We've got eight managers across the west coast of Scotland, from Kintyre right up to the north coast, including Aberdeenshire.
And at any one time we'd be managing how many harvesting sites?
We'd be up to, when we're at full production, would be approximately 25 sites.
So that's 25 harvesters, 25 forwarders. We might have some sites with, we've got maybe 1 or 2 with skylines on as well.
Yeah, currently we've got two winch sites, 2 skyline winch sites, and several combination sites at any one time.
So that means we've got a supply chain that's directly employing probably somewhere in the region of about 100 people.
Yeah, in excess of
contractors.
Yeah, absolutely.
Perhaps more than that. So it's very significant externally to the mill, as well as the people we employ internally in the mill. We're somewhere around a bit over 200 people in the mill.
Yeah, just under 200 on site.
The other role that Ewan has is also responsible for selling the co-products out of the mill. So behind us we've got a large pile of chips that, and typically chips from here are exported.
Yeah, most of the chips are exported by sea, mainly to Scandinavia, but other parts of Europe.
Sawdust
more locally goes to local markets within Scotland and delivered by road.
So where are co-products being used then?
So pulp manufacture, chipboard manufacture, pellets for heating, and general biomass.
So a unique element to this sawmill is that we've got a port behind us. So beyond the pile of chips, we've got a port, so we'll export the chips out there, and also we're bringing logs in, probably somewhere around 10%.
Yeah, approximately 10% of our volume comes by sea. So from Mull, other islands, and more locally from Loch Allen at the Morven Peninsula, and indeed we're just about to start bringing in logs by boat from Glenetive.
So which is near Glencoe, but there's no roads into the forest there. So although it's on the mainland, we're actually using boats so that we minimise we minimise lorries. Well, we couldn't put lorries there. We want to try and reduce the number of lorries we're putting on the road.
Yes, so it has the advantage of reducing local traffic on the roads, heavy goods vehicle. Georgina, you just drove up the 82 and the roads are terrific in terms of suitability for heavy traffic.
So we've come down to the port, which is part of the overall facility here. We don't own this, but it sits within the overall area that the sawmill is part of, the industrial estate that the sawmill's part of. It's a really useful facility for us. Ewan, how many boats are we bringing in?
So we've got continuous activity coming both in and out by sea, so regular shipments coming in of log material, and then of course largely co-products going out, but occasionally log volume as well going to other markets.
We also bring small roundwood, so chipwood and pulpwood into this facility. It's held in a stock area and then dispatched to.
So really crucial. We've got the stockyard here at Clarpack for outgoing volume. So we'll build cargoes over a period of time and then ship largely small roundwood for export to Scandinavia, but of course to other markets too, including Egerton and Caledonian paper at Irvine.
And the advantage with that is it minimises road miles, particularly on the more fragile road network that we've got locally. There's not a substantial small roundwood market within about 2 hours of here. So 80, 100 miles to the north would be the nearest one, and further away to the south. So it's reducing that pressure going through some of the more attractive areas locally. And what's the largest vessels that we can bring in here? What size vessels?
So Dave, we can bring out in up to 5,000 tonne vessels, but predominantly the vessels that are around for export are approximately 3,000 tonnes typically. For log volume coming in, typical volume is about 1,000 tonnes.
And this port really not used for much else?
No, a bit of fish farming activity, and then the other big industry in Fort William is the smelter, so there's a bit of incoming material from the smelter.
So it's out the aluminium smelter, but we would be 2/3, 3/4 of the activity.
Over 2/3 of the activity would be timber based.
So this is the finished goods area. So we've got wrapped material, which is construction grade material. So going into buildings, stud work in buildings, roof work in buildings. When the market's perhaps at its strongest, we'll typically be selling about 60% of our product in this form. And then at the moment, a lot of pallet wood over here behind us, and some fencing over there. Behind us we've got a building that's clad with larch that's come from local forests, and it's a really nice touch. I think that a lot of the buildings here are clad both internally and sometimes externally with larch that's come from forests in the local catchment area. So good added value use of the product.